What's going on, everyone? It's Squids. How's it going? So, as you know, right now we don't really have any Winter 22 animes really airing until next week slash the week after. So, I need some things to fill in some gaps. And with the end of the year coming, I think I've done this last year, possibly, but I wanted to do a top 10 animes of 2022. Now, I do have a couple rules. One of the main rules, number one, is it's not no sequels, no second seasons, no nothing like that. Two, no OVAs. We're going for full series. So sadly, Iris the Goblin Slayer will not be on this list. However, I feel like that's just commonplace. Like, obviously, you shouldn't just add those. And other than that, these are also just all my opinions. So take them with a grain of salt. I think these are some of the top animes that come out of this year, because this year was a decently good year. Specifically, this season, fall 2022, has been such a banger. So with that out of the way, let's get started. And I also want to mention I'm going to add 3 runner-ups, just because it was kind of hard to choose just 10. However, I didn't want to go too crazy and, really start not having a top list. At that point, you're just starting to list so many of them. So, here we go. At number 13, so contenders, I'm going to have to say it was a tough call. And this one's going to be very controversial, as is, because a lot of people didn't like this one. But I would have to put Engage Kiss as number 13, because as much hate as it got, I thought it was freaking beautiful. The animation was pretty spot on. The story had, in the beginning it was a little rough, but it kept you engaged. And the fact that you had that comedy aspect to it with, the beautiful Yandere and fucking the friend with the blue hair, of course, that trope and everything. But you know what? In the end, it got really sad. Like, I was very emotional. And man, I gave this one, if I remember correctly, an 8 out of 10. Give it a watch if you haven't seen it yet. And with that being said, I'm going to go to my next pick at number 12. I'm going to have to go with one that I don't think... Okay, I think it had a little popularity, if I remember correctly. I just know it had a pretty good rating, but I just couldn't remember if, like, everybody liked it or not. But it doesn't really matter. So I'm gonna put in number 12. When will Ayumu make his move? Now, this was an anime, just a little simple, like, romantic, like, comedy with 2 main characters that both definitely love each other, and they just don't want to admit it to each other. And it's pretty much based off of shogi, because that's what the club is for it. But dang, oh my gosh, Urushi was so cute, and Ayumu was actually pretty not terribly bad. He was just, a simple oblivious boy, but it wasn't like your regular MCs where you want to pound him in the face. He was just more like didn't know what to do, which is understandable and pretty cute. So I recommend watching that one. And for the number 11 spot, I am going to put one that it was kind of a toss-up in the spots, but this was one that was actually just recently finished, and I don't think it got talked about enough. However, I think you should go back and watch it, and that's going to be Raven of the Inner Palace. I give this one an 8 out of 10. It could have been a 9. But, however, I think the sequel season that will eventually come will do better. But it was really good. I didn't know what to expect of it, because it is a Chinese anime. Bandai did it. And, man, if you're into, like, drama, but kind of a romancy with a little historical, and, like, there is some, like, really nice animation for, like, some of the things she does to, like, send spirits to the next world. It definitely kept me intrigued, especially towards the latter half of the series. Not to say that the first half isn't strong, but it wasn't enough to get me into the exact top 10 positions. So, but yes, Raven of the Inner Palace, number 11. Now we're gonna enter the real top 10 list, and this is where the fun begins. This is where I had the most trouble sorting out, where to put ones and what to do with them. But I think I got it. So at number 10, I'm gonna put Aheron-san wa Hakarenai, and oh my gosh, that one was so good. Oh, it is so hard to not love this one. You got Aheron-san, who is this little shy, quiet girl in class, and at first you're like, oh, this is gonna be really weird because the other character, Rado-kun, he's kind of oblivious, but at the same time he doesn't know because Aheron-san is very shy and off-putting, and she doesn't exactly make it forward, so he does really good. And they do a bunch of things together, and they become really good friends. And you get to meet her siblings, Ren and Eru, and they're pretty badass. Not gonna lie to you, the jokes in this show were hilarious. And they do some outdated things. To be fair, the manga did come out, I believe, in 2020. It might have been earlier. Don't quote me on that. I think it might have been earlier. But yeah, 2017. But gosh dang it, it's so worth the watch, and it is the cutest romance. On to number 9. This is another one that was really popular. So I'm not really gonna talk too much about it, but I loved it to death, so I think it deserved a spot, and that's Call of the Night. Holy shit. That was some magic. The backgrounds and the animations on every single episode were so supreme. They were vibrant, they stuck out. Holy shit. I haven't seen backgrounds that well done probably, I wouldn't say my whole life, but it's pretty close, especially for a weekly release. And then on top of it, the two MCs are so addictive, and they feed off each other's vibes, and the story goes so well. And then on top of it, you had the Creepy Nuts doing the opening and the closing, and whoo, those songs. And ironically, if I remember correctly hearing this, the actual name for the anime was based off the song the Creepy Nuts did before that manga even came out. And then it was a song or a manga based off a song, and went full circle, and they got to do the opening song of theirs became the opening song for this. So it was really kind of wholesome and awesome like that. But dang, you can't go wrong, and I think this one definitely is getting a second season. So if you haven't watched that, give that a go. And we're going to turn ourselves into number 8. And number 8 is going to have to be another one that personally I didn't know where to place it because this is such a hard list to do. However, this is another one that's really hyped up, so I don't really have too much to say about it, and it was very recently. But Lycoris Recoil, that had some of the best action scenes in a very long time. The way they animate them and the creativity with it is so supreme. And then on top of it, they say it's Yuri and everything, but who's to say? Nothing's ever confirmed. But the characters in here are very addictive and cute, and the ending kept me going for a long time, even though it did not nearly end any way I hoped it would have. It ended a lot happier, but I digress. And so now I'm going to go to number 7, and this is where things start to get kind of tough. But we're going to do this. So number 7 is going to be My Dress Up Darling. Now this one, hot. We all know that it is going to be getting a second season coming this next year. I would assume fall 2023 because of the source material. However, if you're looking for something hot and spicy with really, really cute romantic vibes and great animation and addictive characters, this is for you. I'm not gonna overhype it because, like, to be fair, it's nothing like super special. Let's be honest here. The story writing is not special, but it does have those awesome vibes that just, oh, it's so addictive. It is so addictive. You will not stop. And that's what I love about it. So, with that being said, recommend that one wholeheartedly. And we'll go on to the next one. Number 6 is definitely gonna be one that is extremely controversial on this list, especially for as high up as it is. But number 6 is going to be The Executioner and Her Way of Life. Now, a lot of people got their panties in a bundle about this one because it was woman power, but I don't give a shit. The story was so driving, and the action scenes were great. The characters had an in-depth, like, feel to it, and the plot was, like, very, like, push, shove. Like, you actually really sympathized to the fact that something serious was going to happen if things didn't change. And then on top of that, you've got this underlying second main story that's going along with the regular main story, and it really keeps you intrigued. So I really hope that one gets a second season. I'm not going to cross my fingers on it because, like I said, I don't think many people liked it that much, but that's going to be my number 6. Now for the top 5. These ones all stuck out to me, and it was really tough to choose. However, the show must go on. And number 5, I'm going to put Akiba Maid War. That just very, very recently ended. And let me tell you, obviously, if you watch my videos, you'll know that I've covered this practically every single week. It was like one of those full circle ones where it started a certain way, it got to a point where it was a breaking point, redemption, back to the beginning. If you're into action with tons of comedy, it was fucking hilarious. However, there is a lot of blood and senseless violence, so if that's not your thing, this is definitely not going to be up your alley. However, I highly recommend it to anyone. So with that being said, let's move on to number 4. This one, oh man, it was so freaking bussin'. Paripe Komi. Holy shit. So the soundtrack for this one, out of this world. 96 Nekos did so well. And then on top of it, the intro and even the plot was very driving and sad, but happy at the same time. And it has friendship in it, and just like the pressures of the idol scene, even the pop scene just in Japan, it's so good. I couldn't recommend it anything more for a number 4 spot. Please, if you haven't seen this one, go watch it. I don't know what you're waiting for. PA Works is just knocking it out of the park, man. It is insane. So, top 3. Number 3, I'm gonna have to give that to More Than a Married Couple, but Not Lovers. That one also just recently ended. Like I said, there was a lot in fall 2022 that I had to add to this list. The best color scheme I have ever seen. Like, Studio Mother, I believe, did so good on the color scheme. And it wasn't just like it was pretty much Nisekoi, the more modern edition, if I'm being honest with you. But with a little less humor and more lewd, if that makes any sense. But yeah, no, they did so good. And I realize now that I also covered this one very thoroughly on my channel, but I realized that they're actually doing, or I don't know if they are doing, but I realized there's more material to cover. So there might be, a different ending for the anime scene. But from what I enjoyed, if it was just a 12-episode anime and I had to go read the manga, I'd be happy with it. So that's my number 3. Number 2. These 2 spots were tough. Very, very tough and controversial. But I had to pick something for one position and the other one for the other position, and I'll be honest, it was really hard to do. However, I had to make a choice. And for that, I picked Chainsaw Man at number 2. I never read the manga for this until episode 1 came out, and I started reading heavily. But I heard so many things about it for so long when it was getting ready to come out, and I was like, this is going to be good. It has to be good. Everybody's hyping it up so much. And hot take, very hot take, Bocchi is way overrated. It is like a 7 at best. Chainsaw Man, 9. Give it a 9. People might just say it's another shonen, and you know it's overhyped and the CGI, mappa, yada yada yada. But honestly, I'm not a huge fan of CGI. I thought the new Dragon Ball Super movie was complete trash. However, I think what they did with this was so good. Storyline, they did pretty damn well. The fight scenes could have been just a hair better, but they did really good. Thoroughly getting the characters out there, and with everything that happens in this crazy intense plot and world. I'm really sad they ended it where they did, Therese, but 2024 guarantee we'll get a season 2, probably spring, maybe a little later, but no promises. That's just what I assume. Whew, I am very excited for that, and I hope everyone is too. So I mean, I don't really have to go too well into that. But number 1 spot for me in 2022 has to be the one and only Summertime Render. Man, that is a roller coaster. This really got me going back into watching mystery and supernatural animes this year. I heard so much about it, and I started watching it about when episode 12 came out, and I binged it all straight that day, and I had to wait week by week to get all 25 episodes done. But it was a nail biter, and they used the time travel aspect in this anime, and the only other one that I really enjoyed that with, in the most part, was Re:Zero. However, the way they do it with the mystery, it was honestly hard to assume things until towards the end. I couldn't pick, but by the time that happens, man, you are gonna cry, you're gonna be happy, you're gonna feel so much joy. And a lot of people disliked the ending, but I thought it was perfect. I don't think they could have done anything different. I wish it would have gone a little longer, but we got 25 episodes of perfection. And it sucks that Disney fucking has to do that shit with the distributing rights, so a lot of people couldn't see it right away. But man, if you haven't watched Summertime Render, do it right now. Your taste buds depend on this. So yeah, that's honestly what I'm gonna have for my top 10 plus 3 of 2022. And in the next video, I plan on talking about a live action for the first time. I'm not a huge fan of these, but this one really, really made me happy. And yeah, so with that being said, I hope you all enjoyed this video. Leave a like, and if you enjoyed enough to get this far, please consider subscribing. It means a lot to me. And yeah, I hope you all have a good one. This has been Squids. Peace.